Hello, my friends, and welcome back to a very special video. Today, I am with my good friend Adef. We are playing Dungeons and Dragons, but with a little bit of a twist. And with that, I am actually going to turn it over to Adef, who's going to explain what's going on.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Adef, like Dave said. I'm a speedrunner on Twitch and here on YouTube. Last year, I started a show called Speedrunners and Dragons. It's a completely original Dungeons and Dragons show featuring speedrunning personalities from Twitch and YouTube. Dave here is currently a player in our second campaign, actually. So today, Dave and I want to give you a glimpse into just what D&D is and what our style is like. And to give it some Mario spice, the twist Dave mentioned, I've created a one-shot adventure, which means we're doing it in one sitting, and it's set in the world of our favorite mustachioed plumber. So as this video progresses, I think you'll get a good idea of how it all works. And also at any point during this video, if you like what you're seeing, I need you to do two things. One, drop a like on this video. What are you doing? Like this video. And the second thing, go to youtube.com/speedrunnersdragons. The link is in the description. And subscribe. Without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy Speedrunners and Dragons presents Trouble in the Mushroom Kingdom. All right, Dave, you ready?
I am very excited. Yes, let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Deep within an oft-forgotten part of the Mushroom Kingdom lay the town of Hazelburg, so named due to its position on the edge of the Hazelwood Forest, an old and storied woodland realm. What separates Hazelburg from so many other towns in the Mushroom Kingdom is its diversity. When so many other towns are mostly Goombas, mostly Koopas, or mostly Toads, and so on, Hazelburg encompasses many of the different creatures found in the Mushroom Kingdom. This is due, in part, to the other factor that separates it so largely from the other towns. Hazelburg was built and settled upon many generations before the Mushroom Kingdom became a kingdom. In those days, it was merely an independent merchant's town, Hazelburg that is, built on the principles of shared values and a common goal of a pleasant life. Aided by the lush and agriculturally significant Hazelwood Forest nearby, the town flourished. Things were not always rainbows and sugar plums in Hazelburg, however. The history books tell of an evil group of Magikoopas that called themselves the Grimm Sisters. Apparently, the Grimm Sisters poisoned large sections of the Hazelwood Forest, attempting to build some kind of magic stronghold deep within the woods. In their quest to convert the forest to their evil machinations, they destroyed countless farms and ended many lives. Just as Hazelburg was on the brink of destruction, something unknown happened to the Grimm Sisters and they were never heard from again. Our story begins many, many years later, with an adventure-hungry, red-shelled Koopa named Karl, staring at the clouds, wondering about the recent crop failures that have crept up within the forest. Being a well-read, history-attentive Koopa, Karl, you suspect that this old fairy tale about the Grimm sisters might have something to do with it. You and your best friend, a diligent toad named Timothy, are working together at your job, tilling fields on a farm on the outskirts of the forest. You just can't shake this feeling that the recent disappearances of farmers who dwell deep within the woods and the crop failures are reminiscent of the stories you've read so much about. And as you are supposed to be gathering bushels of wheat into a wheelbarrow, Timothy walks up to you. And he looks at you, and he's carrying several bushels just by himself, more than you are putting in one by one into the wheelbarrow. And Timothy's like, "Come on, Karl, stop daydreaming and get to work. The sooner we finish, the sooner we can leave."
So, Timothy, have you been noticing... I'm sorry, I am daydreaming, but have you been noticing anything weird going on lately?
This is classic Karl behavior. You know that? This is classic Karl behavior. You know, Old Man Goomberry tells us to come here and collect his crop, you know, sow the crop. I don't know the terminology. Look, I come here and do the job, and you're always blabbering about some adventure or some exploration for us to go on.
I know, but I just feel like there is something. There's more to farming. And you remember the story of the Grimm sisters?
Yeah, you nailed it.
You remember the story of the Grimm sisters back in our history classes, right?
Yeah? What of it?
You don't think, that's not. You don't think something like that's going on now?
What do you mean, like the recent disappearances and the crop failures?
Yeah, it seems too weird to just pass it off as, it's an accident or something. Nothing's going on. There's something going on, Timothy, and I want to find out.
Okay. Again, classic Carl behavior. Old fairy tale is now real, and everything's happening, and we have to leave work early, right?
Ideally, yeah.
Okay, well, if we just walk out of work, Old Man Goomberry is never gonna let us hear the end of it, or possibly we lose our jobs. And I don't know how you plan on paying for Koopa College without your job, but
Maybe there's someone that can cover for us?
I don't think we can pull any more favors with the other guys. I already owe several homework assignments to all the other guys.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe, he is getting kind of old. Maybe he just won't notice if we leave.
If you're set on this, are you going to do this regardless of what I say? That kind of is with the feeling that I'm getting.
I'm going. Would love to have you come along with me, Timothy, because, I need you for one thing.
Okay, well, that's very nice. That's very kind.
I don't want to guilt you into this,
okay,
but
well, it feels
I don't think
like it.
It's kind of a guilt trip, but I can't do this without you.
All right, well, you did admit it to being a guilt trip, which somehow makes it better. Fine, look, I'll go only on the pretense that if somehow you're right about this, I would not feel good knowing you went off and get obliterated by some ancient witch, and knowing that I could have maybe stopped that. So fine.
I'll make it up to you. I promise.
This is
the
last time. This is the last time.
I'll do your homework. I'll do your homework that you're doing for the other people. Okay? Is that
okay, that's fine.
Okay. Let's go.
Okay, fine. Let me get my stuff. And he sort of there's a little shack, like not like the Old Man Goomberry's shack, but a sort of storehouse where bushels of wheat are taken, and you and Timothy sort of keep your belongings there during the workday. And you being a ranger, you have, your bow. You carry your dagger on you because, cutting crops and cutting rope and things like that. But Timothy says he'll go get your stuff, and he runs off to the storeroom, and he comes back with your backpack and his, and a big hammer. He's got like this huge hammer. And you don't recall ever seeing him with this hammer.
Where did you get that, and what is that?
Well, it is a hammer. I don't know what it's used for, but as I went into the storehouse and grabbed your bow, I realized I don't have any way to defend myself. So I figured I'd just grab the nearest metal object I could find, and that happened to be this.
Can you even swing that thing?
We're gonna find out. The two of you set off into the woods, and Old Man Goomberry's farm is sort of on the edge of the woods. If you were leaving Hazelburg and you went directly into the forest, the farm would be right there. And so you're going deeper, sort of northeast, into the forest proper. And the forest is very pretty. It sort of looks like autumn year-round. The seasons do change in Hazelburg and in Hazelwood Forest, but these trees are sort of interesting in that when it is not the winter months, when they shed their leaves, in summer and spring and fall, it's always these beautiful auburns and reds and browns that make up the color of the woods. And so yeah, as you're walking through the woods, could I have you roll perception, please? And Timothy's going to do the same. First roll of the evening.
A 6.
Okay, Timothy's got a 5, so not great. So the two of you are sort of just, looking about at the beautiful leaves, the wonderful wildlife.
So pretty.
A chipmunk scurries by. Timothy and you sort of bump into something, and you look down, and there are two Goombas on the the ground, and Timothy apologizes immediately. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And he sort of looks to you, and he's like, because they're not turning around, like they seem to not even have noticed that you bumped into them.
Hello?
And as you say that, they turn around, and they have this weird red glint in their eyes. And one of them gnashes at you and attacks you. So let's roll initiative.
Ooh. All right. 18.
All right, that means you are actually first. So the Goomba sort of gnashes at you, and you back up quickly and get a little distance, 10 feet or something between the two of you, and you may attack.
All right. So I am going to attempt to hit with my longbow.
Okay.
I rolled a nat 1.
Ooh, tough stuff.
Hey, this is my first battle, okay?
You draw the arrow and you loose it, and it just drops. And you realize that you had pulled the drawstring, but the arrow was not actually knocked. You were just holding it with your 2 fingers, so it just drops right in front of you. And Timothy looks at you like, ah! But I believe you have an extra attack, so I think you can go again. And I'm feeling generous, so.
I have something called Horde Breaker, where once on each of your turn, when you make a weapon attack, you can make another attack with the same weapon against a different creature that is within 5 feet of the original target. So I'm guessing the Goombas are pretty close.
They're right next to each other.
Okay. So let me try again.
Nat 20? No way, you're lying.
Nat 1. Back-to-back ones, dude. Yeah. Nat 1.
Well, this time you're in a fervor, you're in a stupor because you missed and you feel embarrassed, and you reach back, and this time you don't pull anything out of the quiver, and you pull the drawstring and you loose. And I heard recently, apparently, that pulling a drawstring with no arrow in it is bad. Like, this can hurt you.
Yeah, I heard that too.
So let's say you take a damage this time. You take 1 damage this time from your double crit 1.
Okay.
Well,
that was my turn.
There you go. Would you like to move?
Solid first turn. Yeah, I'm gonna back up 30 feet.
Okay, sweet. They actually cannot reach you at that range, so that's great.
Oh, nice.
They got tiny little legs.
I feel that.
It is the Goomba's turn. The first one is going to jump and try to bounce on Timothy.
Oh. I kind of just left Timothy high and dry.
You did. Okay, he misses. The Goomba misses, so he's sort of... And the Goombas seem almost like rabid. They are making choices and being like very angry, things you haven't seen a behavior of Goombas around Hazelburg. And it misses in its sort of rage. And the other one does the same. Tries to jump, and I believe that is a hit. It is. And Timothy's like, Carl, where are you going? as you backed away. And the Goomba does 7 damage to Timothy on that bounce. That is tough. So this Goomba, the first one bounce misses, the second one bounce doink hits Timothy right on the head. It's like, ah! It looks very visibly painful, and the Goombas land. And it
Giant goose egg.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. It's Timothy's turn, and old Tim is gonna bring the hammer down.
Let's go, Tim.
So he's gonna swing at the first Goomba, and wow, we are not rolling well. It's 11, which does not hit, but Timothy has a special little thing where he can attack twice. What's that called, Dave?
Multi-attack?
Multi-attack. He's gonna try to hit the same Goomba.
It's my best Bobby.
It's good. That is a 19. That hits. Okay,
yes,
we've got a hit. That is 9 damage.
Let's
9
go.
damage. So Timothy sort of brings the hammer and stonk, and brings the hammer down, as it were.
Is it smushed?
It's not smushed, but it's pancaked, like semi-pancaked. It's like even shorter now. And it's your turn.
I would like to move right next to Timothy.
Okay.
Back to Timothy.
Okay.
And I would like to use one of my spells, Cure Wounds.
Okay.
And a creature that I touch regains a number of hit points equal to 1d8 plus 3 for 5 recovery.
Nice. All right. Timothy's less angry with you. He's a little pleased that you've come to his rescue.
Let's do it. I'm going to use Tuck.
Okay.
Which
you sort of pop your arms and legs and head go doink into the shell, and this red Koopa shell now sits on the ground. And your armor class increases by 4 while you are in this state. While tucked, you cannot take any actions except for using a bonus action to come out, and then it's half your movement speed to stand up. And the Goomba that was not struck is going to try to attack you. That does not hit for sure, especially with your increased armor class. So it bounces and misses you completely. It's sort of, confused by the fact that you've become half as large and are on the ground.
This is an ugly first battle. We're both struggling.
Nobody's doing well. And the other Goomba is going to try to bite Timothy.
Uh-oh.
And does not hit.
Let's go, Tim.
It is Timothy's turn. He's going to bring the hammer down once. That's a hit, and I'll just roll the second one. Second one's a miss. So he's going to almost certainly... Yeah, he finishes off the squished one. He just hammered, boom, and it
Let's go.
falls to the ground unconscious.
Okay, let's untuck. And I'm not going to move.
Okay.
I am going to attempt to hit the Goomba with my longbow.
Okay. Just at close and personal.
Close range, dude. Does an 18 hit?
Yes, it does. DGR's first hit of the one
Let's
shot.
go.
3 turns
For 12 damage.
Oh, you nailed it in one.
Let's go.
So you pop out and stand up and draw the bow
Point
immediately.
blank.
And just point blank range, kill shot, like right to the dome. This Goomba's like looking up at you, crying as you just loose an arrow and end its rabid hopes and dreams. And it collapses, and you are safe. And Timothy's like, okay, have you ever seen Goombas act like that?
That was weird, man. I told you something weird's going on, Tim.
Okay,
Told you.
I'm starting to believe. Okay, well, what next?
Did the Goombas leave anything behind that we can check for?
Let's roll investigation.
11.
You think you see some tracks leading further away from the direction you came from, so like deeper into the woods.
Well, Timothy, I do you see these tracks? I think these are from the Goombas. Let's follow them. It's basically all we have to go on.
Okay. All right. And you walk for a while, and I'll have you roll survival.
4.
All right, Timothy's going to try also. 11 from Timothy. So Timothy, you just keep getting distracted by these little things that you think might be clues. You like see a little gash on a tree, like, oh, it's a clue. And see a little leaf that's slightly out of place. Oh, it's a clue. And Timothy's like, come on, man. He like grabs you by the shoulder and walks you. And you follow the tracks to a farm. And there's, sunlight peering through the leaves in little rays as sort of lighting this farm that looks derelict. Like it's done. It's been gone for a while. As you approach the farmland, it's kind of a small farm. There is a shack similar to Old Man Goomberry's sort of house, and it's a tiny little farmhouse at the edge of the land.
Let's go to the farmhouse. Check it out.
Sure. It's one level, and the roof is like thatched, and it's a little run down, but it's not collapsed. And there is a door off the land into the house.
Is the door unlocked?
It is not.
Are there any windows?
There are windows. There is a window to the left, a little bit raised above the ground.
Can I peek in the window? Is there any movement inside?
As you sort of wipe it down and peer in, it appears to just be some really rundown furniture.
I'm gonna be courteous. I'm going to knock and see if anybody answers the door.
There is no response.
Hey Timothy, how much trouble do you think we would get in if we broke a window?
Well, seeing as it doesn't look like anybody's been here in a long time, I think it would probably be okay.
Do you want to break it?
No, this kind of seems like your thing.
You have a hammer, though. I don't...
You can use the hammer if you want.
All right, I'm going to borrow Timothy's hammer and break a window.
Sure. Roll strength for me. Why not?
Okay. 11.
So it's easy. I mean, it's glass. It's thin glass. You just barely tap it and it shatters. And Timothy grabs the hammer. He's like, I think you could have just done that with your hand, to be honest.
I didn't want to get cut.
It's fair, I guess. Well, you're the only one uninjured from our last little encounter, so. And Timothy sort of vaults into the window.
All right, let's go inside.
And inside is very dark and sort of ominous. And then you hear Timothy do a toad shriek. It's gonna be loud if I do it right there, so I'll just do it over here. It's like,
I couldn't hear it.
Oh, really? All right. Well, you're gonna have to watch the video then. So he does this toad shriek, and you whip turn to look where he's pointing, and there is a skeleton of a Koopa that's sort of collapsed into the ground, just lying against the wall.
Dang. What's the head of a toad skeleton look like? Or wait, you said a Koopa.
It's a Koopa, yeah. I'm not going to bridge the toad skeleton debate.
I was hoping we could go into that.
Is it a hat or is it their hair?
Let's I'm gonna check the remains. I'm shaken by this.
Sure.
Obviously.
There is not too much of there's a little note, and he's wearing a necklace with a key on it.
I'm gonna take the key and apologize. Well, actually, let me read the note first.
It says, "To Carol, my dearest, the Goombas have overrun the farm. If you're reading this, it's too late."
Carl. I wonder if they're related. Now I will take the key.
Okay. You just happen to look out the window on the opposing side. Not the one you entered, but the other way, which is deeper yet into the forest, or deeper still. And it appears beyond the rundown farmhouse, you can see the trees appear to be darkening in color. And having lived nearby to the Hazelwood Forest your whole life, you've never seen anything like this. The consistently auburn-colored leaves seem to have given way to dark browns and unsettling, toxic-looking greens in the branches, the leaves, and the trunks. And Timothy looks at you with bated breath.
Have you ever seen anything like this before? Yeah, neither have I.
He feels like he's maybe bitten off more than he can chew here.
Listen, Tim. It's not too late to turn back. I need to keep going. I need to find out. Would love to have you. I'm not going to guilt trip you.
I can't let you go in there alone.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Okay, you keep saying that like you expect everything I'm going to say, and now I'm really self-conscious about that.
Well, we have a key. Does the key look like it would open or do anything in the house?
It looks ancient.
Okay. So I'm going to guess no. Well, I got this key, Timothy. We might not find the solution to what's going on, but I think this key is the key. See what I did there?
Was that a joke? Are you
I'm
trying
to lighten the mood?
Okay, I'm trying to lighten the mood. Okay, I appreciate it. It didn't do anything for me, but I appreciate the attempt. And he's like, let's go. sooner we get this over with, the sooner we can go home. And he opens the front door and goes out towards the darker trees.
I'm following right behind him.
So as the two of you venture deeper into the woods, following this path of these changed trees, as you follow the darkening of the trees, the air begins to grow thinner. And as you find it slightly harder to breathe, a clearing about 20 feet beyond, after you've walked for about a half hour, a clearing about 20 feet beyond catches your eye.
I have a spell I would like to use called Detect Magic. Give it a try. Let's see if it works.
Okay. You cast Detect Magic on yourself, and you don't sense anything within the immediate vicinity, but you have a feeling like there is some kind of magic, and this is sort of just an innate feeling aided by Detect Magic. There is magic in the area, but not in the clearing per se.
All right, so that makes me feel a little more comfortable, so I'm going to head for the clearing.
As you enter the clearing, an old stone fortress now stands before you. Vines climbing up every which way, the walls of this fortress bewitch the senses, giving you a feeling of great unease. And Timothy is sort of gobsmacked at this. He says, How could this have been here the whole time? I've traveled this forest my whole life.
I don't know, but I told you, I've been trying to tell you for months. Weird stuff's been going on, man.
All right, you're probably right. Let's look for a way in, I guess.
Hopefully this key is the key.
You keep making that same
I was hoping
joke,
it would land the second time.
But it's the same joke. It's the same joke.
Sometimes when you hear a joke more than... Anyways, okay. So, let's walk up to... I'm assuming the castle has a entry point?
Yeah, there's a sort of facade with an archway that looks like it might be mobile, like it can move.
Okay. Does there happen to be a keyhole?
No, but you do see a handprint, embossed into the stonework, like some kind of place where you could put a hand, and the hand has 4 digits.
How many?
You have 4 digits.
Okay,
and,
I didn't
know. Timothy sees you looking at your hand. He's like, "I have 5 fingers, man. This looks like a you thing."
I was good at history, okay? Math was never my strong suit.
Right.
All right, so I'm gonna put my hand into the embossment.
Sure. And as you do so, directly next to it, a stone fake slit thing slides up into the door, revealing a keyhole.
Hey, Timothy.
Don't say it.
Okay.
Please don't say it.
I just look at him, waving it.
I know, it's the key. I got it. The key's the key.
So I put the key into the keyhole and turn. Does anything happen?
It fits in nicely, and when you turn, the massive stone door sort of eats the key. And then the slit, closes back over it, and you back away as the stone door begins to... It sinks beneath the ground just before you, and the dark entryway of this jungle fortress now beckons you in.
You ready for this?
Do we have a way to make light, maybe? Do you have a torch?
I do have a torch. I forgot I packed that.
Could we maybe... I haven't told you this. I'm not afraid of the dark, but I do not like it on principle, and I am fearful around it.
Don't worry, your secret's safe with me.
Okay, cool.
Let me light up a torch here.
Sure. Yeah, you've got a tinder box, so you're able to... The torch
it's lit.
glows
I
brightly.
actually have 10 torches, so I'm gonna light another one and give it to Timothy, so we both have one.
He's like, okay, cool. I wasn't gonna ask, but thank you. He very nervously holds the torch aloft.
All right, let's. I guess we're gonna walk in.
Sure. So
See what we
you
see.
walk into the fortress, and the door actually quickly shuts behind you, and Timothy goes. He lets out a little whelp, and he goes. He says the classic line, "Well, no turning back now." And you look before you, and dungeon music plays, and the title card comes up, Jungle Fortress, and you're standing in this circular room, and you get the sense from outside and in that this is sort of the center column that leads up to the sort of top ramparts kind of area of the, I don't know if I'm using that word right, area of the fortress. And there is a ladder that leads up through the floors. So there's a ceiling about 15 feet above you leading to the next floor, and there's a ladder up the center.
Can I notice, does it seem sturdy?
It does, surprisingly. In fact, it looks like it may have been used recently.
Ooh.
Like there's some dust had settled on it over time, but it looks like some handprints have removed some dust and some footprints.
How many fingers on those fingerprints? 4. Okay. I think I'm gonna climb the ladder.
Okay. Timothy's like, oh, okay. And he follows behind you, sort of, holding the torch in one hand, climbing with the other. And, that thing where you're holding something while you're going up a ladder, so you have to, like, wrap around the side as you climb up each rung. And as you make it up to the second floor, there is, in classic Adef puzzle style, a pedestal before you with an inscription. And the ladder appears to lead up to a blank stone slab. Like, the ceiling above you has no opening where the ladder goes.
What does can I read the inscription?
Sure, it's actually in Koopish, which is a language that Timothy recognizes but cannot read. And I will send you the inscription.
Oft does the weather represent the changing of the times. Give an offering which represents each.
And as you say the word each, as you've spoken this whole description, the floor reveals magically, like magic purple cloud starts to billow around the floor, and another stone slab arises, and it has 4 stone dishes atop it. And each stone dish has a Koopish word in front of it. On the far left, there is the Koopish word for spring. Directly to the right of that, the Koopish word for summer, then fall, then winter. And there's a small stone dish on each.
I guess I'm gonna have to climb back down the ladder. Or am I able to climb back down the ladder? Or
You are, but the door outside is shut.
Okay. Is there any other doors, when I climb down the ladder, any other doors that I can explore?
There is, yeah. There is a door to your left.
I would like to go into the door on the left.
Sure. When you open it, there is a tree that seems to have been wilting for some time. And its leaves are strewn about on the ground.
I would like to pick up a few, not just one leaf, just in case.
Okay.
A few leaves.
Sure. These sort of brown, crackly leaves. You pick them up.
So I'll go climb back up the ladder with my leaves.
Sure. He's like, what are the leaves for?
Well, I'm assuming changing of the times means we have to put, and then give an offering which represents each. So I'm assuming we're gonna have to put something that represents the seasons in each of the dishes. And in the one room down there, I found some leaves. So,
which season are you thinking for the leaves?
Well, they were kind of dead, which usually happens in fall, late fall.
Okay.
Early winter.
Should we just try it?
I don't know.
It looks like you grabbed a surplus of leaves, so there's not really any harm.
Yeah, let's try it. Let's put it in the fall and see what happens.
The bowl begins to spin, and then purple smoke bellows out, and a second bowl comes from behind and clasps on top of it, and the bowl sinks into the stone slab, and a purple light emits from where the stone dish was.
I'm gonna say that's right.
Timothy's like, yeah, that seems like a sort of what might happen if you get it correct.
Well, we have 3 others that we have to find in order to solve this puzzle. Do you want to come down and help me look?
Yeah. Well, what represents the other seasons?
I mean, maybe a flower for spring? Do you have a flower on you?
Oh, my lucky flower. He says no, but he says, what's that saying about Mayflowers?
You mean April showers?
That's it. And he takes out his water skin, which is like a water pouch, and he opens it and he pours some water into the spring one and closes it, and the same happens. The spinning, the clasping, and the down in the purple light. He's like, I got one!
Mushrooms sometimes grow in the summer. What if you sit on the...
I'm not going to do that.
It was an idea.
It feels demeaning.
So we need summer and we need winter. Do you have any other things?
What do you associate with summer?
Grass.
Okay.
What do you associate with summer?
I don't want to give you the whole solution to the puzzle now, Dave.
I'm looking here.
You can roll investigation for me.
18.
As you're looking around, you don't find much of worth on the bottom floor or this floor that really catches your eye summer-wise. But I will say this with your high roll. You are sort of getting the inclination that something you have on you right now might be pertinent.
Torch? Slowly put my torch on the summer.
Some of the fire leaps off of your torch and makes a small ember that bursts into a small flame within the dish. It spins, closes, purple smoke down, purple light.
Wasn't expecting that.
Timothy
Wow.
says, I guess it's like the sun or something.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
All right, so that's 3 down. We only need winter now.
Yeah, what represents winter?
I mean, obviously, the first thing you think of is snow. Where are we gonna find snow this time of year?
And he pulls out the water skin again. He's like, snow's just ice, right?
Kind of.
All right, let's hope it didn't melt. And he opens the water skin and he chugs the water. And then he takes out his little pocket knife and cuts it and opens the water skin and pulls out an ice cube. And he's like, do you think?
I think it's worth a shot.
Cool, because it's melting and it's the only one left. And he puts it in the dish and it spins, closes, and goes down, and purple smoke and light emits. And the whole pedestal then begins to spin swiftly, and you back out of the way as it sinks into the ground, and a doorway opens above the ladder.
Well, hold on to your butts, Timothy.
Okay.
Let's climb up.
You find yourself outside, actually. You're on the top of this fortress. So it's not super tall, I guess. Or that ladder you just were on was super tall. And the breeze, the late afternoon breeze sweeps by you, and the air is still quite thin. And the tops of the trees for miles can be seen, because none of the trees are too terribly tall. It's a sort of short forest that's very dense. And Timothy immediately sort of is in awe. I mean, it's very pretty. But you can also see almost the growth of this malice that is growing throughout the forest. And it's centered definitely around this point, and immediately around the fortress you see very deeply, darkly affected trees. And then it gets slightly less gradual, or slightly more gradual as it goes outwards, sort of feeling like this is the epicenter of this issue. And Timothy asks you what you think is going on.
I don't know, man. There's been some weird stuff. Like I told you, you remember the history lessons we learned on the Grimm sisters. This is castle, fortress.
Yeah, what were they? What were the Grimm sisters doing again? Roll history for me.
16.
Karl, you recall that the Grimm sisters were sort of snatching up people from around the forest, and there are some historians that, and honestly, the story is not very well corroborated. It's sort of fallen into the annals of history in a way that makes it seem almost untrue, sort of fairy tale-ish, but you kind of believe it might be true, because you're more historically inclined than most. And you've done your reading, and there are a few people that claim that this happened, so it seems somewhat legitimate. And, I mean, it feels pretty legitimate now. And there was one historian, this Goomba, this old Goomba, that claimed that he thought that what they were doing with the crops was sucking the life out of the ground that the crops were creating and using, and then sucking the life out of individuals to sort of power themselves. And he hypothesized that maybe this was for a great slumber or something, or to amass power. The rest of them sort of had no hypotheses as to what they were doing, but people were disappearing and crops were failing. And we can assume that you relay that to Timothy.
Are you seeing the parallels to then and now?
Timothy says, yeah, no, it's... As much as I hate to admit, it's kind of hard to not see the parallels. And as he says that, you hear... And then... and a sort of witchy, like Magic Koopa figure, very reminiscent of the Magic Koopa base sort of enemy, or kind of Kamek, looking a lot like Kamek, appears on the edge of the ramparts of this circular platform atop the fortress. And she is sort of hunched over and clawed fingers, and she's got these purple robes and this pointed purple hat drooping behind her, and these broken glasses, and she has some things to say. She says, "Who is intruding in my fortress?"
Hi, I'm Karl.
Karl. Announce yourself, small mushroom boy. And the toad is like, it feels like such a really demeaning to... Timothy's my name. And she says, excellent. 2 additions to my collection. Perfect. Yes, excellent. My sisters, they didn't sleep. They thought they could lose nothing and win forever, but I stole their life from them, and I slept for hundreds of years, and I'm here now, and I'm so excited to be stealing little lives like yours, one by one. I'm back to finish what the Grimm sisters started all those years ago. I am the chiefest sister, after all. And you remember off your previous history roll that the chiefest Grimm sister's name was Helga. You remember her name.
Is your name Helga?
You, Karl boy, was it? You remember my name? You know it somehow?
Oh, I remember. And you will remember this day, because this is the day you leave this forest forever.
Unlikely! And she snaps her fingers, and 2 dry bones summon on either side of her, evidently skeletons of Koopas that she has sucked the life force out of, and they start playing their bones like xylophones. And they start creeping towards you, and she is like, let's begin. And roll initiative. Initiative probably.
I have +1, so 2.
Okay, well, it's Tim's turn first, and Tim is just, are you on the Google Dice rolling, or are you on some website?
I am on Google Dice rolling.
You're on some website that just rolls ones?
Google Dice Roller, dude. It's 3 in 1 sitting.
Timothy runs up to one of the dry bones, and Timothy actually is a little angry. This is his home, just like it is yours and so many others, and these Koopas were people. Or these dry bones were people. So Timothy,
small mushroom boy too.
Timothy, just he sort of crouches down and grabs the hammer with both hands and goes, and the toad, a mushroom hat, like the red parts start to glow, and his eyes look beet red, and he looks so cross. And he starts to do another toad scream, just and he goes into a rage. Turns out Timothy Toad was a barbarian this whole time.
Oh.
He goes into a fit of rage, and this lasts 1 minute and boosts his power. And he is going to run and try to smash one of the dry bones to hopefully free it from this mortal coil. But that is a hit. That is a hit. And it adds 2 damage, so that'll be 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 2 is 11 damage. And he strikes the dry bones, and it dunk and cracks along a lot of the bones, and one of its arms falls off, and it desperately is trying to recollect it. And Tim is just going to swing again. That's a hit also.
Let's go, Tim.
9, 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 2 is 9 damage. Tim then swings in his rage and hits or actually, as the dry bones is reaching down to grab its arm, Tim readies a putt or a drive and just swings with great follow through and nails the skull, and it flies off into the distance, and the rest of the bones crumble.
I'm just staring in awe.
Yeah, it's a side of your friend you've never seen. He's usually so, I don't know if tepid is the right word, but he's calm usually, and kind of just
right.
Well, I guess we'll just do our job.
Right.
And it is Kamek's turn, or Helga. It's Helga's turn, and she is going to fire her magic. You know how in TTYD and Paper Mario and Yoshi's Island, Kamek has the PlayStation icons?
Yeah, yep. Oh yeah.
She's gonna fire the PlayStation icons at Timothy and then you.
Okay.
And it's for those of you that know D&D, this is an altered version of magic missiles, so it just hits. And I almost said Jader. That's Dave's character in Campaign 2 of Speedrunners and Dragons. Karl, you take 2 damage, and Timothy takes 2 damage.
All right.
And then it is the other dry bones' turn, and it is going to walk up to Timothy and attempt to hit him. And that hits. And Timothy takes 6 damage. And it is your turn.
All right.
And the dry bones and Helga are right next to each other, by the way.
That's what I like to hear, because I am going to use my longbow and attempt to... I'm going to try for Helga.
Okay.
I don't believe this.
Reroll it. We can't have this.
I don't believe that. All right, I'm refreshing the page, man, because that was another one. Okay, that is... Does it... 23 hit?
Yes, a 23 hits. Roll damage.
For 11 damage.
Very nice. A true hit. Finally, a true arrow swings and flies through the air and hits her right in the shoulder. She's she's quivering. And still your turn.
Well, I'm going to use Horde Breaker and attempt to hit the dry bones as well. Does a 20
yes
something hit?
Yes.
23. Okay. For 10 damage.
Nice. So the second it hits it in the skull, and the skull spins around and then lands backwards, and it has to recorrect it and get it in place. It's not looking too great. And it is Timothy's turn, and Timothy is just going to take a whack at the dry bones, assuming your turn is over.
Yep. I'm done.
That is a nat 20 from Timothy. So for those of you that have never seen D&D, nat 20 means double the damage, which means this dry bones is going to be extra clobbered. 16 damage. The dry bones
That's a lot of damage.
Done. It just shattered from over top. An overhead swing that shatters it. And then he's going to walk up to Helga and take another swing. That does not hit. Okay. It is your turn. And all that's left is Helga.
It's my turn or Helga's turn?
It's Helga's turn. That's right. And she is going to swing at Timothy with her claws. That is a miss. It is your turn.
Let's go. I have one spell slot left. And am I within range to touch Timothy?
You are not. You're about 10 feet from him.
Okay, I'd like to... Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go up to Timothy, please.
Okay.
And cast Cure Wounds.
Okay.
And that would be... Recover 6
nice
damage points.
Timothy hardly even notices that this has happened because he's so enraged.
And I would like to try and hit Helga with my
So the magic was your action, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
But you can still take your bonus action if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm going to tuck again.
Okay, so you plop into your shell and land on the ground. It is Timothy's turn. He's going to attack. That is a hit. 9 damage. Nice. And he attacks again. Another hit.
Go.
6 plus 4 is 10. Plus 2 is 12. 12 damage. So he's just knocking at this thing. And she's looking a little beaten up. And then it's her turn, and she is going to swipe at you.
Okay.
And she hits. Ooh, we have to do the fun exchange now. So you do take damage, I think. If struck by an attack that deals bludgeoning damage, which we'll say that, yeah, this essentially does. In the comments, you might be like, but it's slashing damage. And I'll say, but this is a cool thing that should happen before we finish. You may use your reaction to reduce the damage to 0 and move away from the enemy in a straight line up to 90 feet, bouncing off of walls. If you hit a creature, they must make a dexterity saving throw with a DC of 15 minus 1 for every 10 feet traveled before you hit. Okay. So you can, you can bounce off the sort of crenellations behind you. Crenellations are those, like, things that stick up from castle tops that arrows are shot between.
Didn't know what they were called. I learned something new today.
Crenellation.
Crenellation.
So you can bounce off of that, which is about 10 feet away, and come back, sort of in midair, and you're headed right for her. So she has to make a dexterity saving throw of 5. Oh, it's possible. It's possible. 4 total. Okay. So you are struck, and the shell bounces off the crenellation and comes whizzing back in midair. And I'm not taking the extra minus off for the midair travel because it's different, and this is way too cool. If the target fails, they take 1d4 bludgeoning damage for every 10 feet traveled like this, and your movement is stopped. Okay, so we'll also only count the damage on the way out. So that is 10... Oh, it's 10d4. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. It's 23. 25. Regardless, even if it was less, she's dead. You come back and hit her, and she just explodes into, like, magic aura, and you hear a faint wah! As she disappears into nothingness, and you stops, and you spin on the ground and splay out into, like, a cool formation and pop up onto your feet. And Timothy calms down and looks at you, and he's like, that was really cool.
What you did was pretty cool.
Duh, no. No. And the two of you are able to descend, and the door has opened, and as you exit the fortress, it disappears. And the life returns to the forest that was sort of sucked up into the fortress. And you get the sense that Hazelwood Forest has been saved. You get the sense that peace has returned and that the Grimm sisters will be heard from no longer, and Hazelburg is a peaceful town once more.
Timothy is a hero. He truly is the Sam to Frodo.
Yes,
you know?
of course.
That was awesome.
I'm glad you enjoyed. Gamers, if you did enjoy this, it would mean the world to me if you would go to the YouTube for Speedrunners and Dragons. That's youtube.com/speedrunnersdragons and subscribe. We're on a little break right now, but in a couple weeks, Campaign 2 is coming back. So you have time to catch up on Campaign 2 before it comes back from our mid-season break. We're just getting into the really good meat of the story over there.
Pretty crazy. And this is the first time I've ever played D&D, so this has been like a brand new experience for me, and it's been so cool. Adef is an incredible storyteller, and the story that he's telling in Campaign 2, the one that I'm being part of, is incredible. Like, I highly encourage you, if you enjoy storytelling, if you just enjoy, like stuff like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, check it out. It's amazing, and you won't regret it. Thank you for doing this. Again, this was super fun. And if you're like I said, if you enjoyed this, please go check out Adef's Twitch page, which will be in the description below, which is where the Speedrunners and Dragons streams take place, and then also the YouTube channel, so you can catch up on all of the past episodes. And I guess we will send it away. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and until next time, take care.